Dear friends, welcome to EPG Pathshala. I am Dr. Nitesh Goyal from DAV College, Chandigarh. I am going to present before you the 19th module titled Probability Sampling under the paper Tourism and Hospitality Research. The module will cover the following topics: the introduction, probability sampling, selecting a random sample from an infinite universe, some complex random sampling designs, and finally the summary. After the completion of this module, you will be able to understand the basic concept of probability sampling, understand the different types of probability sampling, you know how to draw sample with the help of probability sampling. First of all friends, I would like to give you a brief introduction about the topic. Up till now, basics of sampling have been presented and you must have gotten fair idea about the technique of sampling, its advantages and limitations. As stated in the earlier module that there are two types of sampling techniques, that is the probability sampling and the non-probability sampling. This module is an effort to present before you the different implications of probability sampling only. The non-probability sampling will be covered in the coming modules. Probability sampling is more scientific and logical method of drawing sample from the population. Let's take the probability sampling in detail. Probability sampling, also known as random sampling or chance sampling. Here, every item of the population has got an equal chance of getting selected to be constituted as a part of the sample. It can also be called as a lottery method, wherein each unit is selected from the complete collection, not by design, rather through certain scientific procedure. Here, it is only a blind chance that ascertains whether a specific item or the other item will be picked up for the final selection or not. Thus, random sampling is always considered to be the most suited for selection of the sample. Thus, it can now be stated that random sampling refers to the method of sampling design which provides every possible sample combination a fair and an equal chance of being selected, and every item in the whole universe to possess an equal probability of being selected to constitute a sample from the population. While applying this method of sampling, replacement is not done. That is, once a specific item has been selected out of the population, it shall not be considered again for selection into the sample. Thus, there are certain implications pertaining to the random sampling as listed now. First, it provides every single item of the universe an equal chance of being selected for the sample, and all such choices are very much independent of each other. Secondly, it gives every possible sample combination a fair and equal chance of being selected for the sample. So, keeping this in mind, the above implications, a simple random sample from a finite population can be termed as a sample that is selected in a manner so that each of the NCN possible samples have the same probability, that is 1/NCN of being chosen. To clarify the situation in a better manner, an example of certain finite population, that is N, comprising of 6 students of college bearing the roll numbers 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, making N total to be 6. Under this example, suppose we have to draw a sample of size N is equal to 3 from it. Then the maximum possible sample combinations can be 6C3, that is 20, and they would consist of the elements as on your screen. Here now, if the researcher has to choose one of these samples in such a manner that every combination has an equal probability of 1/20 being selected. Now, how to select a random sample? Random sample is supposed to be one of the most relied methods of drawing a sample from a finite universe. But the main question over here is to how to take a random sample practically. In most of the cases, as stated in the previous example, the researcher can jot down every possible sample combinations on a piece of paper, mix them thoroughly and then draw those pieces of paper as a lottery, either with closed eyes or by rotating a drum or by some other similar means. Such kind of a procedure appears to be simple, but practically sometimes unfeasible, if not at all impossible in more complex problems of sampling. However, there is a simpler way of selecting the sample randomly, without making an effort of estimating all the possible sample combinations first and then selecting one of them. Instead of undertaking such procedure, the researcher can write the name or assign a code to each unit of a finite universe on a piece of paper, put them in a bag, mix them thoroughly and then draw the required number of slips one after the other without any replacement. Utmost care is required from the researcher while adopting this kind of method, so that in every new drawing each of the remaining slips should again have an equal chance of being selected. This process of drawing sample will give the equal probability for every possible combination of sample. It can be verified through the previous example. Since the universe in the example is known, that is 6 units in total, and we want to select a sample size of 3 units, the probability of each element being selected for the sample in the first draw is equal, that is 3 by 6. And the chances of drawing one more unit in the second draw will be 2 by 5. And in the last draw of unit, the probability of each unit being selected will be 1 by 4, since as the conditions permit, these draws are supposed to be independent of each other. Thus, the joint probability of all the 3 elements that comprises the sample will be the product of individual probabilities of each unit to be selected, like 3 by 6 multiply 2 by 5 multiply 1 by 4, that is 1 by 20. Now, this is in line with our earlier calculation. In this example, an easy solution to draw a sample has been given, but still there is an more easier way to draw a sample. This method is widely used and quite simple to use in the real practice. Under this technique, the sample is drawn with the help of random number tables. For the purpose of selecting random numbers, random tables devised by various statisticians like Tippett, Yates, Fisher can be used. However, it is the Tippett's random number table that are extensively used by majority of the researcher. Tippett gave 10,400 4-figure numbers. Drawing sample from a random table can be explained with the help of an illustration. First of all, we will have to note the first 30 random numbers, as you can see from the table on your screen. You can see it has the values like 2952, 6641, 3992, 3170, in the next line 7203, further it is 3402 and so on. Now, if the researcher intends to draw a sample of 4 units from a universe of 1000 units, which have been assigned numbers from 5001 to 6000. Now, the researcher must select 4 values from the random table as above, which vary between the value 5001 to 6000. In this example, we have randomly decided to obtain the values starting left to right, and the first value is taken from the top left and the first cell of the table. With this exercise, following random numbers have been obtained: 5911, 5624, 5356 and 5246. Thus, the 4 units that bear these random numbers shall form the desired random sample. It is important to mention here that although it is the easiest way to draw random samples from a finite population with the help of Tippett's random number table, however, it is not possible to do if the complete list is not available and all the items have not been assigned a number. Thus, in some cases, it becomes almost impossible to take the sample from random number tables in the manner stated above. Now, how do we draw a random sample from an infinite universe? Till now, drawing of random sample, as has been discussed above, was detailed keeping in view the finite type of populations only. However, this may not be the case with every study. That is, every study need not be based on a finite set of population. In case the population is finite, it becomes relatively difficult to apply the concept of random sampling when it comes to the study of an infinite universe. It can better be explained with the help of an example. Suppose a researcher has to study the 20 throws of a fair dice as a sample from the infinite universe, comprising of all possible throws of the dice. If the probability of getting a particular number, say 3, is the same for each throw and all the 20 throws are independent of each other, then it can be said that the sample has been selected randomly. Drawing a random sample from an infinite population would be very similar to that of drawing random sample from a finite population with replacement. Let us now take on few complex random sampling designs. Under restricted sampling techniques, probability sampling may produce some complex random sampling designs. Such complex designs are termed as mixed sampling designs. Such kind of complex designs is actually a combination of probability and non-probability sampling techniques. Some of the popular complex random sampling designs are as systematic sampling. In many cases, instead of going for random sampling, it is more viable and practical solution for sampling is to choose every ith item from the population. Selection of such ith unit of the whole population is termed as systematic sampling. An element of randomness is also present here in systematic sampling, but only to initiate the selection of first item only, and later every ith item followed by the first randomly selected item is chosen for the sample. For instance, if a sample of 10 fountain pens is to be selected out of 100 fountain pens, the first fountain pen will be selected randomly from the whole population, and thereafter every 10th fountain pen would automatically become part of the sample. Thus, in a systematic sampling technique as stated above, only the first item for the sample is chosen randomly and the remaining items of the sample are drawn at fixed intervals. Therefore, systematic sampling technique is not purely a random sampling technique, but at the same time it is generally treated as random sample only and thus termed as systematic random sampling. There are some advantages associated with systematic random sampling as listed as: the first most, it is considered as an expansion of simple random sampling. It is due to the fact that sample drawn through the systematic sampling is fragmented more evenly over the entire universe. Secondly, it is relatively an easier and economical method that can be applied even where the universe under study is very large. Having listed the main advantages of systematic sampling, the systematic sampling also suffers from certain limitations, like if there is some sort of undisclosed periodicity in the universe, the systematic sampling can prove to be fatal and most inappropriate method of drawing a sample. Say for example, every 10th unit of a pen manufactured by a certain machine is found to be defective. Now, if the researcher is to select a sample of 10% of the whole population of pens with the help of systematic sampling, it will not give the representation of all the pens, as the sample thus drawn will have either all the defective pens or all non-defective ones, depending upon the starting position of the first item in the sample selection. If all the constituents of the universe are listed in random order, systematic sampling can be considered as good as simple random sampling. But if this is not the case, then the resulting sample will not be reliable and give biased results. The second type of sampling is stratified sampling. Many a times it has been observed that the target universe is not evenly distributed or normally does not represent a homogeneous group. In such kind of a situation, a drawing of a better representative sample becomes difficult and stratified sampling techniques come to the rescue of the researcher. Under the technique of stratified sampling, the universe is divided into subparts that are more homogeneous in nature within the group than the total universe. Such subparts of the universe are called as strata. The next step is to select items then from every such stratum to formulate a sample. Since each stratum possesses a more homogeneous group as compared to the universe itself, it becomes feasible for the researcher to obtain better and more accurate estimates for each stratum. This method or technique also helps the researcher in bringing in more accuracy and achieve better representation of the whole population, and thus provide more reliable and although it might appear from the above note that stratified sampling technique is easier to use, but practically when it comes to its real application, it is not that easy. Before going for the stratified sampling, the researcher must answer some of the queries like how to formulate a strata. As far as the first question is concerned, it can be stated that a strata must be formulated on the criteria of having some common characteristics of the items that will become part of that very strata. This statement underlines that all the stratum thus formulated should be heterogeneous, but each item within the strata should be homogeneous. Thus, the strata are formulated consciously and are based on personal wisdom, past experience of the researcher himself. A researcher should never forget that due diligence should be paid towards identifying the relationship between the key features of the universe under study and the features that are to be examined forms the basis to define a strata for the study. Also, determining a more effective stratification can be done by conducting a pilot study beforehand. The second query that may come to the researcher's mind is how to select the items from each stratum. In respect of this question, it can be stated that after the formulation of the strata, samples are drawn from each strata with the help of random sampling technique. One can use either simple random sampling or systematic random sampling to draw samples out of strata. The third query can be number of items that need to be selected from each stratum. The next question is to how to assign the sample from within each of the strata itself. To resolve this query, it can be stated that normal procedure of deciding the sample size can be adopted. This statement can be better understood with the help of the following example. Suppose a researcher has to draw a sample of 100 college students out of the total student strength of 1000. The researcher decides to formulate 5 strata including 200 students each of 5 different classes. Thus, to draw a sample of 100 students, the researcher will now have to draw 20 students from each stratum, that is, class in this example. The selection of these 20 students can be done through simple random sampling or systematic random sampling. The third type of sampling, cluster sampling. As in the previous point, the whole universe was divided into different strata. The whole population can also be divided on the basis of homogeneous subgroups but have heterogeneous units in each subgroup. Thus, each cluster thus formed is similar to each other. Thus, if the total area of study is a big one, an appropriate method of drawing a sample can be done by dividing the whole population into different smaller independent groups. After this division of the whole area, one of the areas out of all will be selected randomly and then sample will be drawn from that area again with the help of random sampling. These subgroups are actually known as the clusters only. This can be better understood with the help of an example. Suppose the researcher has to estimate the number of defective pens in an inventory of 2000 pens that are stored in 400 cartons of 5 each. Now, with the help of cluster sampling, the researcher would consider the cartons as clusters. Out of these clusters or say cartons, the researcher will select a specific number of cartons. After the selection of the carton, the researcher will then examine all the pens in each of the selected cartons randomly. The major benefit of undertaking cluster sampling is the reduced cost, as the whole population is now reduced to small clusters. However, it is relatively less accurate than that of random sampling. Thus, cluster sampling is used majorly because of its cost effectiveness. The fourth type of sampling is area sampling. Area sampling is simply another form of cluster sampling, wherein the clusters are formulated on the basis of the geographical divisions only. The advantages and disadvantages of cluster sampling are also applicable to area sampling. The next type of sampling is multi-stage sampling. It is an advancement of the principle of cluster sampling. Say, if a researcher wishes to inquire the working efficiency of nationalized banks in India and want to take a sample of few banks only for this purpose, the first stage here would be to select large primary sampling unit such as states in India. Next stage will narrow down to form districts as sample frame and further narrow down to towns or cities of that very district. Now, the researcher interviews all the banks within the chosen towns. This would be termed as multi-stage sampling. The stages can further be increased to any extent. Normally, this type of sampling technique is applied in large-scale industries that cover a very large quantum of universe. There are two advantages of this kind of sampling design. First of all, it is relatively easier to undertake as compared to most single-stage designs. This technique can help study a large number of units or a large sample size for a given cost. The next type of sampling is sequential sampling. The sequential sampling design is relatively more complex in nature. The final sample size under this technique is never predetermined, but is decided as per the mathematical decision dependent on the information obtained as the survey proceeds. In sequential sampling, it can be stated that one can go on taking samples in a specific sequence, that is, one after another as long as the researcher desires so. This type of sampling is done when the number of samples is more than 2. But it is not predetermined to what extent this sample has to be collected, is termed as sequential sampling. Friends, let us now summarize the whole module. Probability sampling is a technique wherein each unit of the population stands an equal chance of being selected to form a part of the sample. Probability sampling is more scientific in nature and helps provide a better representation of the whole population, and hence results obtained through a sample can easily be generalized for the whole population. A properly conducted probability samples makes the researcher capable enough of gathering information from a small number of units of a larger population. Thank you.